So I have two screens, so I maybe deviate my head from time to time to make sure that everyone are with me. So apologize for that. So as Rudy mentioned, and thank you very much for giving me the permission to speak and present the Israeli e-Apostille program. Israel actually began to explore its alternative a few years ago after identifying its need to promote digital transformation through Israel and through its needs. The motivation was actually raised due to the current process in its current format, which was long and is long and consumed lots of effort from the citizen. And I haven't still begun to speak about the bureaucratic process within the government department within Israel. The current process requires the physical arrival of the applicants to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Jerusalem or to the courts in Israel, or actually to the consular department around the world. And it's not simple, mainly in the COVID period, in which I'll elaborate later on. Once there was an understanding related, we've begun to explore our alternative and generate a concept design which address the business aspect together with the technology one. The COVID-19 was a significant accelerator related, which forced immediate change in the lifestyle of the Israeli resident, and the result promotes several resolution by Israeli government. Those were to promote and improve the public service and alleviate the bureaucratic burden through digital service in Israel. And once I zoom into the e-Apostille program, I will discuss and elaborate about four main pillars taken from the resolution 216, which can best describe our program. The first pillar is the live event. This resolution is actually, we are promoting in-depth change in the bureaucratic process using advanced digital means and cross-sector technology platforms, with emphasis on organizing the service provided by the government around the customer need. The service will be made accessible in the government personal area together with relevant portals and websites, which are used to assess digital services and to generate public documents. The ask once is actually that is a policy for reducing the bureaucratic burden related to certification and government information. And the main idea related is that the government department should not ask the citizen for information or certification that department already have. I can give an example that is related for the citizen that has been identified himself on reaching the online forms, and his information will be automatically filled on those forms without having to be required to manually update. Alternative service channel is actually the program to leave the human response still in the loop, and it's for two primary purposes. The first is for those who require still human response. There are services that require human response. And the second is for the benefit of population lacking of digital means or digital literacy. The supporting infrastructure this is actually on the technical aspect for the Apostille, is to integrate cross-sector infrastructure that will provide all government departments with the solution for interfacing and enhancing government service for the citizen, and actually make a centralized service within the Israeli government and also for the citizen. Few examples can be demonstrated by centralized digital payment for the government services, national identification system, signature service, and obviously the Apostille process itself, which is centralized service and will be used 360 from the government aspect and both from the customer need or the citizen, and I will elaborate in the next slides. So from the very first stages in this road, it was very important for us to learn from other experience. So hence once we moved into the understanding and create the concept design, we approached the Permanent Bureau to get starting point and reference, and we have met with various of colleagues who will gratefully share with their experience and challenges And this is a good opportunity to say thank you for everyone who shared his experience and helped us during this way. And we have revisited our process together with the competent authority within Israel. And later on, we defined our vision, we defined our goals, we defined the requirements, and we established a cross-government team to work on that. There was also a need to amending the regulation to facilitate the flexibility for issuing apostilles. We have made some changes in the legislation. We promote some intergovernment meetings to share our roadmap, to share our vision, to get feedbacks. And obviously, all of that was not feasible without funding. Once with that, we move forward for technology exploration and create a detailed architecture together with detailed design. So we had an in-depth preparation and build-up for promoting this kind of solution. Israel is currently in its final stage for developing the e-Apostille program. Some of the services are already up in production, and we are in the final stage of doing the integration with few of our government departments. And also, I will elaborate later about the notary forms. And the first e-Apostille is expected to be issued by early November. Our goal related, if we zoom more about where we are approaching, is to reduce the bureaucratic process within the government agencies, to simplify the process for the citizen and improve the duration for issuing apostille. We have defined originally that we are a fully automated process, no human in the loop, but the process has to be secured, has to be reliable, authenticated, and available. Going back for the previous slide, we are having a centralized platform standard, and the process for all government departments should be working regardless whether it's from their site or from interconnectivity using API from our service, and this will be demonstrated later. I have mentioned the digital transformation, but it also corresponds with digital change and digital improvement about the way of work, about the notary. The notary in Israel is currently working with documents from the portals, and we've changed it for online forms to be unified and standardized and simple along the way. As for the apostille, during 2019, Israel have issued about 400 apostille, half of which were issued for the government public document using the various of department in Israel. The main one is the Ministry of Interior. Is more than 50 apostille were issued. 25 is for the police, and the remaining one are for the Ministry of Religious, Jurisdiction, the courts, Ministry of Justice, Health, etc. The other half were apostille issued for the document generated by the notary. So while doing the apostille program, the apostille solution, we decided to address both of the needs, both for the public documents and both for those who are coming for the notary. The Israeli e-Apostille is based on the central government infrastructure for issuing and verifying the apostille. Then this allows different government offices to work together in a secured and verified manner. Our guiding principle is that every government department is responsible for issuing the public document and actually later on sending it for the citizen that was asking the document. The main central infrastructure is for signing and verifying and creating the other aspect of the apostille. The apostille system ensures the validity of the signature on the public document and irrevocably associate the document with the apostille. The apostille is then signed with certified signature on a PDF document, and the apostille, together with its metadata, is recorded in our system, and then it's sent back to the relevant government department. The apostille system is made from various of elements, which can be seen in this kind of chart, which is both related for user interface for the notary and the citizen for verifying the register, user API gateway for connectivity with other services and government department within the Israeli government, and backend system to manage repository. Here is an example. This is not a final user experience, but this is a very, very advanced website. This is already up and running in the Israeli testing environment. And this is actually to demonstrate that the e-register in which one can submit both the identification of the grid or about the ID of the signature of the document and the submission date. It will be verified if it's not consuming the data, and it can see the metadata for its own usage. Going a bit deeper, but I will not currently frustrating you. There is a lot of information and can discuss about an hour about that. So just a glimpse of overview about the high-level architecture, about the main building blocks. We have an online forms for the citizen to be asked and given whether it's from a central location for its private location for the citizen in the government, or whether it's from each and every government section. There is an online payment, e-register site, the notary website, government identification system, and signing server. All of this together with the government department that are working together with us for integration using the API gateway for interconnectivity between the Israeli department. And once it coming into the e-Apostille system, which is on the right side for the API gateway, there is a lot of more process for validation, verification, authentication, and repository to maintain and later on demonstrate this system. I've mentioned previously that we are working both on the public document issued by the government agency, but not only that. Our main goal is also to improve and to simplify the process for the notary. So if you will see the upper row, actually you can see that number 1 to 5 is one process, and in which I will elaborate. And number 6 to 10 is a different process, which we'll demonstrate later and how it's being looked. But 1 to 5 is actually also a digital transformation, digital change, in which we have taken the document, the Word document, which every notary can work, change. It was not standardized. It can work and update and have incorrect information or missing text or spaces. This is something that was later on validated. But once we are moving for automated process, we would like to make sure that everyone having their own standard way. So I will look about the process. So the notary will be enter the notary system. It will be identified and approved by the government identification system, and then it will be authenticated. It will be update the online forms relevant for the template that he needs for issuing the document. We have about 14 different templates in various of language. This is a very interesting aspect to address. And once he did it, everything will be transformed, and he will be received the PDF document that it can be used whatever its need. So on one aspect, we improve the manner in which we will create the template for the document that it was needed. And the other process, in which is 6 to 10, we are working currently about issuing the apostille, in which the apostille is an online form for issuing an apostille, online payment, verification and validation, and electronic signature server to be generated later on the e-Apostille, and it will be later submitted and sent to the mail. How it's been looked. So it seems like the process for, we have, this is the website for the notary. On the right side, if you would like to go for the digital form, the digital online form is a new one. On the left side, in which I can see here, is for choosing and pressing and initiating the process for issuing an apostille. So once he selected the issuing an apostille, then he will need to identify and select the relevant country. We will make sure that it's corresponding with the Hague Convention, it's part of the Hague Convention, because it's different process if it doesn't. Later on, it will fill that metadata, attach the file. Obviously, you have to pay on the online payment process. And once he completed that, it will be verified and approved on the backend process and will be sent to the notary via email, and the loop is closed. Later on, everything will be registered on the e-register. So once the user would like to verify it, will get into the e-register and everything will be applicable for approval. So if any question, I will be happy to answer. I would like to use this opportunity and to thanks for my colleague that are some of are here on the convention from the Israeli side, some are not, but I think the success of this work is the mutual work and the sharing and working together. So this is a good opportunity worldwide to share my appreciation for everyone. And thank you for listening.